How I was going to say the program. This is before the U was great and all the 30 for 30s and all that kind of stuff. Miami was about to quit football by the time I got there. Anyway, as he was recruiting me, the day before signing date, I was looking through the newspaper and I looked at all the commitments that he had at the quarterback position. One was Mark Richt, who was a quarterback / defensive back. And the other guy's name was Jim Kelly from East Brady, Pennsylvania. He played quarterback. So I said, well, tell me about this Mike Rodriguez guy. I was talking to Coach Saban. He said, oh, don't worry about him. He's going to play defensive back. See that / DB next to his QB thing? Yeah, okay. Oh, that makes sense, Coach. I go, well, tell me about this Jim Kelly guy. I said, East Brady, Pennsylvania. He says, quarterback. There's no / by his name. He looked me straight in the eye. He goes, somebody's got to back you up. And I was like, good thinking, Coach. I see a Jim Kelly, but there's a Jim Kelly jersey sitting over there. You know the end of that story. But anyway, I go to Miami. I got my plan. I'm going to be All-American. Excuse me, I'm going to start as a freshman. I waited until my second year to be All-American. Then my third year, I was going to win the Heisman and then turn pro. And that was my plan. Well, then what happened was this Mike Rodriguez guy who was supposed to be a DB, he actually went to play quarterback. Jim Kelly obviously played quarterback. And me and Mike Rodriguez would always call him Lucky Jim. We gave him the name Lucky Jim because that's why he won the job. He was lucky. You know, we would drop back and we'd know exactly who to throw to and we'd stick it right on the heart of our receiver. The ball would pop up in the air, the DB would catch it and go get an interception for a touchdown. And Jim would drop back, didn't know what he was doing. He'd just sling it out there and throw it right to the DB. The DB would bobble the ball, receiver would catch it on the dead run. And that's how I won the job, you know, so we called him Lucky Jim all those times. And so anyway, my world basically was being lived by Jim Kelly. My plan was being lived out by him. So to be that close to success and watch this guy live your life is kind of hard to do, hard to live with. And so when my football career was going down the hill, my life obviously went down the hill because that was my whole identity. That was my God. And I did become All-American at the nighttime events. I'm not proud to say, but I don't even get into detail of all the stupidity that I had. I'm glad there was no cell phones with cameras and all that thing like it is nowadays. And I'm seeing a guy that's totally different than what I was used to seeing. He's about a year or two ahead of me. And he was ahead of me in the nighttime events, like I mentioned before. And all of a sudden, he's not doing what he was doing. He's got this peace about him. And he starts to tell me about why. And so I'm sitting there going, hey, this might be for me. You know, I mean, I really think the Holy Spirit was trying to speak to me at that time. And so anyway, I'm thinking this may be the deal, but we're getting towards the end of the summer. And then after the summer, you know, you go back with your regular roommates, your girlfriend comes back from New Jersey, and you're thinking, gosh, what are they going to think? And so I didn't come to know Christ at that time in my life because really three things. One was I was more worried about what my friends thought. And I said, would you mind if I throw next to you during the pro day? Because he had hurt his shoulder, he rehabbed, he wanted to prove to the NFL, and he's still a first-round draft pick. So Jim's like, yeah, Boca, go ahead. My nickname was Boca because I was from Boca Raton, and then it became Boca Baby. Later on, I'm not going to tell you why that happened. Part of the nighttime games, but anyway, so pro day comes. Jim Kelly, he drops back. Pretty good, right? I drop back. Unbelievable. I'm just thinking, man, if they like Jim, I know they're gonna love me. Then he drops back, throws a deep ball, and it was fairly impressive. And then I threw a deep ball, and it was masterful. It was beautiful. So anyway, I'm thinking, I am going to get drafted. Man, I was so excited. So anyway, after the pro day is the draft, right? You get the draft. Well, the draft wasn't on TV back in the day. The draft was like you'd sit by your telephone and hope that your agent gave you a call that you got drafted by somebody. So a few hours went by, and the phone didn't ring, and then about 5 hours after the draft started, I got a call. And my agent said, hey, I got some good news and bad news. I go, okay, let's get rid of the bad news first. He goes, well, the bad news is you didn't get drafted. I'm like, duh, I knew that. And he says, the good news is you're a free agent. And 2 teams want you, and they're bidding for you. And both of them are offering you 6 figures. I go, tell me what's up. Pittsburgh Steelers want you. All right, they're going to give you 6,000.00. Wow, it's amazing. I go, who else? He goes, Denver Broncos. 8,000.00. I'm like, I'm going for the big money. We're going to Denver. So, by the way, Steven, right? I'm like, this guy's sitting at the table, right? And then Chris calls up all these high school kids, and I'm like, wow, that guy's a stud high school player. I didn't realize he's like this Major League Baseball star. Anyway, I apologize for that. But I was freaking out, like, this guy's got potential. So anyway, I fly to Denver to sign my free agent contract. There's a guy named John Hadel, who was a wide receivers coach at the time. And he was the coach in charge of me. And we had dinner, I signed my contract. He took me back to the hotel room. He said, hey, tomorrow we're gonna get a chance to meet Coach Reeves. Dan Reeves was the head coach at the time. And we get to go to the complex and check out everything. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. Just signed with the Denver Broncos, man. So anyway, I go to my hotel room, I turn on the TV, and the first thing I see is, newsflash, John Elway has just been traded from the Colts to the Denver Broncos. And I'm thinking, oh geez, there's lucky John Elway. So anyway, I go to the complex the next day, and I get to meet John Elway. Everything was about him. I mean, the guy was the greatest thing since sliced bread, you know? And first pick of the draft. So anyway, I'm like, well, I'm still gonna make this team. Maybe there's 3 quarterbacks. Maybe I can, make second or third team. So go to camp. So you go to the NFL camp. The rookies are there before the veterans get there. Well, they did it back in my day anyway. So anyway, I'm in this drill they put me in. It's called the pass rush drill, right? In the pass rush drill, you got a defensive end. It's about 6'5", 260, runs about a 4.4. And then you got an offensive tackle who's about 6'5", probably 300 pounds, and is a fairly good athlete, but not like this defensive end. And normally in the pass rush drill, they put one of those wobble dummies, these big dummies, you whack them and they pop back up. And they decided to put me in there instead of the dummy. So I would drop back, and I kind of got discouraged. I mean, there's no ball, I was not throwing the ball or anything like that. So anyway, I'm like, I'm gonna work on my pocket movement back here and impress them. So anyway, I'm back there getting smacked in the head and all that kind of thing. Well, about a week later, when the day the veterans are showing up, I'm at breakfast and some guy comes to me, my scout, who brought me in. He says, hey, Coach Reeves wants to see you and bring your playbook. I'm like, finally. I'm taking the playbook and I'm going to Coach Reeves, we're going to talk some ball. Well, I didn't know if they said bring your playbook, see the head coach, it meant you're about to get cut from the team. I didn't know that, heck. So we're staying somewhere in Greeley, Colorado. I don't know where we were, at some college. And I go up about a few floors to go to Coach Reeves' hotel room that he was staying in. With my playbook, he takes the playbook and goes, I hate doing this, man, but you're cut from the team. I'm like, what? I thought we were going to talk ball, Coach. He goes, no, you're out. So anyway, I start crying like a baby. I'm boo-hooing bad. And believe it or not, Coach Reeves, I think, shed a tear with me. Because I hate this part about my job. So I was like the first guy cut that camp. So anyway, not my agent, but the scout said, hey, pack your bags, and you got to catch the flight right now. You're getting out of here in however long. Hurry up. So I pack my bags, and I'm just speeding down the elevator, and the elevator opens on the bottom floor, and it just so happened as I'm leaving, the veteran players are coming in. They're moving in, I'm moving out already. They knew what happened. I had 2 bags in my hand. I had snot bubbles everywhere, snow in my face. It was pitiful. So anyway, the door opens, and it had to be a wide receiver because they always got something smart to say. And he's like, "Dang, man, you got cut already?" The guy, Pablo, parked his car, was walking through the parking lot, and a guy almost hit Pablo. And so Pablo got mad at him, and he got in this guy's face who was driving the car, and he had his buddies in the car with him. And Pablo threatened to whoop his tail. He was a big offensive tackle, 6'5", 280, 300 pounds, whatever it was. And he was a great guy. Everybody loved him, but he was also one of the baddest dudes on campus. And so he threatens to whip this kid's rear end and just doesn't think much about it, goes to the party. That guy got his feelings hurt. So he went back home and got him his sawed-off shotgun. He brings it back to the party, sticks it under Pablo's car, tells his buddies to go into the party, tell Pablo, "Hey, this guy's messing with your car. You better do something about it." So Pablo comes out and he starts walking towards the guy, kind of like the old Miami Vice days, the kids from Miami. It's kind of that mentality. He's like, "You ain't gonna shoot me, bro." And the kid panicked and pulled the trigger and shot and killed Pablo. First guy got called, team chaplain. And everybody's at the hospital, and he ends up passing. And the next day, Coach Bowden talked to the team. Coach Bowden was here a year ago, they mentioned. And you got your team meeting room. You got me in the back. I'd taken roll. Everybody has their assigned seats. And I was kind of keeping an eye to make sure the media wasn't hanging around. Not that I don't like the media, but that was part of what I was doing that day. And so he addresses the team and he says, "Men, I don't know where Pablo is today. I don't know if he has a relationship with Jesus Christ or not." And he kind of spread the gospel at that moment. And he didn't quite say it exactly like this, but he said something like this. He said, "When Adam sinned, sin entered all men. We're all born with this sin nature of Adam. No matter how good we think we are, we're not perfect. That's God's perfection. So the fact that we're born with a sin nature, we have no possible chance of living a perfect life. And so when we sin, we fall short of the glory of God, and we're going to a bad place. We're going to hell." And he said, but guess what? There's good news. Jesus Christ was born and lived a perfect life, and he was a perfect sacrifice. He died once for all sin. And if you just ask Christ to enter your life, you will have eternity. You will live for eternity with God. And he said, "Men, I don't know what Pablo is because I don't know where he was in his faith. But he said, "Men, Pablo used to sit right there in that chair. And now he's gone." He goes, "You guys are 18 to 22 years old. You think you're going to live forever. But if that was you last night, you know where you'd spend eternity." Well, I'm in the back of the room. And the hair on the back of my neck is, everything's like, oh my gosh. And all those, talk about planting seeds, the seeds that were planted by my summer school roommate, John Peasley, those seeds finally came to fruition. And I knew I was going to go and talk to Coach. He said, "Ben, if you ever want to talk about this, come see me in my office anytime." He's talking to the players. But I was dating my my current wife, Catherine, at the time. And when I got back from the meeting, I said, "I'm going to see Coach Bowden tomorrow." So the next day, knock on the door. He says, "Come on in, buddy." He calls you buddy when he doesn't know your name. I said, "Coach, I know you're talking to the players, but I need Jesus. I need to pray." And so I knelt right down there in his office, and he led me to Christ right there in his office. So he was more than a boss to me, I can tell you that. But he lived the life of a coach. Everything it was his faith, it was his family, and it was football, and it wasn't that order. And I knew that. I saw it every day. I lived it. I was, just by the grace of God, I got to break into the business under a man like Coach Bowden, and everything that he was selling, I was buying. We did devotionals. Every single staff member, every single staff meeting, we started with a daily devotion. And every man in the room had a chance to have 5 minutes or so to say what's on his heart. And then we would pray to God and we'd ask for help. Because as good as Coach Bowden was, he knew we needed help. You know, and all those things were, all those seeds were being planted in me as a young coach too. And then when I became from a graduate assistant coach to a volunteer coach to a full-time coach to an offensive coordinator and ultimately a head coach at Georgia, I got to decide how to do things. And I got to bless my coaching staff, and I got to bless our players and everybody who touched our program. And so it was just an awesome thing. But my plan that I had when I was young, like your plan, right? Then I had a new plan, and the new plan was really simple. It was really simple. It was to love God and obey Him. Love and obey. I fasted one time early on in my walk, and 40 days, and I was just like, I want to confess every sin, and I wanted God to tell me, God, tell me what you want me to do. I'll do anything you say. I wanted God to speak to me audibly, just tell me. Well, 40 days later, this is what God spoke to my spirit and said. He said, I love you. And he goes, I want you to love me back. And he said, the best way you can love me is by obeying me. The best way to obey me is to know what my word says. And so that became my new goal. Get up every morning and try to please God with how I live it. And just trust Him. And that was it. And things have gone pretty darn good. And I've been blessed so much. It doesn't mean you don't have hardship. You know that? But I will say this. When you know in the end where you're going to go for all eternity, not only are you excited about it, but you want to have other people come with you. Okay? And everything in this world has to offer. You can make it. You can make it through the tough times because of that. Now, we came here for FCA. We came here to raise money. I don't know if you're going to make an ask for what's going on, but get off your wallets and invest in eternal things, because all those other things are going to burn up and be gone for a fact. My wife and I started giving $100. We were at an event like this. When we first got there, we started giving $100 a month. We didn't have $100 a month. We just started giving out of our faith. And I just want to just tell you, I'm so impressed with what's going on right here. So impressed with the amount of people in this room that care. And one last thing I do want to pray, if you don't mind. So we'll all bow our heads. Father God, I love you, and I thank you for bringing me here. I thank you for allowing me to share your good news. And I thank you, God, for your son Jesus and what he has done for all of us. And God, I just pray that if anybody in this room tonight who was listening to the words where I talked about Coach Bowden saying, if it was you last night who died instead of Pablo, where would you spend eternity? My guess is at least one person in this room saying, I know where I'm going, and I don't like it. I don't like it. And I need Jesus. And I pray that that person will pray in their heart to receive your son, the gift of your son, Jesus Christ. And we'll tell someone about it, Lord. I ask that in your son Jesus' name. Amen. God bless y'all. Enjoy it. Powerful message.